that's so exciting, and it's so amazingly attractive.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
No, he's not laughing now. Is it all right there? It's a bit bright, isn't it? That's kind of pinging off my dome. What's that song? Who was it? What is it? Just based on what I've just said then, if anyone in the chat, lovely to see you all. Welcome to all the OG scrubs, a massive hoit to that. If anyone, welcome to anyone who's new. I know a lot of the Dragon's Den reactioners, the Dragonis they're called, I've separated them out. Although there is a crossover, you may become a scrab. Well, there, I ruined it. That is etched in now. There may be a scrub Dragoni somewhere along the line. That's going to be tricky. But if anyone can remember, if anyone can guess based on the little bit I said then, what the song is, I will go absolutely calm. JF is back on the phone. Hello, mate. Yeah, I know who you are. Let's get some hellos in while you're thinking about it. Hello, Woodlander. Good to see you. Hello, Rusky, Mouse Cat. You're as new. You know what? You're as new. I'm not even going to say that because as what was about to come out of my mouth then wasn't pleasant. Hello, Denise Moniz. Hands, Jess, and a Bumpsy Daisy rapper. We might play a bit of that. Let's play a bit of that while we're waiting for people to arrive, because I do actually want to keep on this SUBSTACK. Someone wants me to connect you with them, but I haven't got your email. Now, if you're blagging them, because if you're avoiding them, don't. But apparently you had a chat in the chat. So if you email me, chris@chrisdangerfield.com, with your email, I'll give you theirs. So, but I've looked in the Scrubs lifeboat. I checked all my emails. I got nothing from you. So if you do want putting up with whoever it is, don't put up with them. You don't have to put up with anything in life. James, Tyler, Danger's all right. Danger's all right. Yeah, I'm all right. No, nothing wrong with that. I am going to move that light a little bit. It's too much off of my dome. Come on, if no one's guessed that song yet. Jess, I just said it again. LC 350 is a redundant scrub. Well, that's not a very nice thing to say about yourself. LC 350. Anyway, let's start this properly. So today, bongs it owns. Dao bong socks by day. Knyom min belna maung b. Knyom min maung b. Yeah. Lao. Nangai lao. Tell you what, one of the best things I've ever done learning how to speak Khmer. It's been brilliant. We've still got to do the out of it stream. So no one managed to. Hello, Marsh. By the way, people, I've got a bit of bread here that's defrosted with a bit of cheese on it. When that's fully defrosted, I will have to eat it. This is how tight my existence has become. Where's this 42 thing? 42, how do I find it? What do I type into Google? Hang on, I type 42 and then I go to the filters. Then I put channel. Oh yeah, I've been around this place a long time. And then there's 50 channels called 42. Surely the one I'm subscribed to would come up first. Is it on a different channel, 42? How the hell do I find it? Hello, Mrs. Meanit. How are you, darling? No. I've got that email for you. Something like a chicken or a snake that lived without a head for about 10 years or something. I haven't read it. Come on, 42. I'm only going to play a little bit of it. That's terrible, isn't it, Winstoner? Thank you for bringing attention to that. Nice one, Mr. Burnham. Custards on the firm. Oh, we do. And now you said that, That's all we're going to get. Zzz. Me and Gail used to do that on crack, like days on end. You all right? Zzz. And then it would get, because so for people who don't know, there's a classic UK TV series called Tales of the Unexpected, written by Roald Dahl, really vowel heavy, kind of consonant light, but also the consonants have almost become vowels. They're Roald Dahl. It's a lazy name, man. That's a name for people whose friends are always out of their nuts. Oi, what's your mate's name, pisshead? Roald Dahl. Oi, listen to this. I've got a mate. His name is Narb. 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 Now, it's a nickname because his real name is Mark. But in the boozer once, when he was like this, someone went, Oi, what's your name? And he went, Narb. 20 years ago to this day. All right, Narby. Anyway, Tales of the Unexpected with Roald. One of the this was a 1980s series, and there was always like a little twist at the end. There was always like a weirdigan kind of denouement at the end of the story. Now, we all remember them, and I know a lot of the people on this channel are around my age. We remember them really fondly because, we were kids. And if you make the mistake of going back to watch them, they're awful. The production values are a joke. When they shut a door, all four walls, including the fourth wall, everything shakes. Some of the acting is terrible. Even the writing's bad. I mean, this is professional work for Roald Dahl. This isn't James and the Giant Peach. I bet that's Rags. He's going to tell me something. Ragnar Ironspear, you are now live on the Not Calling Show. Hello? Hello? He's ended that call. All right, here we go again. And that's all over. Oh, here we go again. You enjoying this? This is acceptance. Ragnar?
Hello, bud. That's in your telegram. 42 song.
Oh, you bloody beautiful bastard. I thought you were hassling me about something. What a weird angle. Like, you've literally never hassled me. You've only ever been very kind and helpful, ever.
Just get on with the show there.
You've just hassled me then. That's the first time.
So I can get back to modern.
He hung up on me. He just went. He just done me, dropped me out. Right, what did he say? I don't know what he said. Right, I've got the link. You're all good. I've got the link. There it is. We'll play a bit of that in a minute. Bosh. We'll get the old... I never know whether to call him an Irishman or not. I don't know how it works. I asked Rags to tell me about the Irish situation. He sent me about 100 hours of footage that I watched. All I could think of was 42. So, Tales of the Unexpected. And one of the classics was about this couple. She has a baby, and the old man is a beekeeper. And he starts feeding the baby royal jelly. Now, any beekeepers or people with more knowledge about this than me, feel free to correct me in the chat so that I can ignore it. But I think royal jelly is the stuff that the bees feed the queen bee, right? Royal jelly seems to make sense. I am guessing. And have been for the last 50 years. I've got a little bit of correction fluid on my unconscious. And so the baby's really growing fast, and the wife's getting a bit weird about it. And she keeps saying, the bloke's slowly getting odder and a bit weirder. And she's like, have you fed her? And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, I fed her. She's big. She's really growing. And like, You know, because like I said, this was commercial work for Roald Dahl. This wasn't a novel that he cared about. This was, come on, knock out 12 episodes, just done in a day sort of thing. And then because he's eating it as well, he slowly, it's kind of like the Fly, but before the proper Fly, like I like to call it the proper Fly, the Neo Fly, with the really tall bloke and the decent special effects. Although the Proto Fly, the black and white Proto Fly, the effects in that, if you can sit through the whole tedious movie, right at the end, I'm not going to risk putting it on here. I'll tell you about why I got a strike the other day, and I'm not even going to risk any copyright content. At the end, there's like a face and hands with a fly sort of picture behind it under a foot. One in the chat if you've seen the Proto Fly, the original movie. But in Tales of the Increasingly Expected, he starts speaking with a little Z at the end of everything because he's turning into a bee, a honeybee. And so then she's like, have you fed her? And he's like, oh, yes. But it's that bad. It's that bad. It's not subtle. Wicked to see some ones. That's amazing. Hello, Otto. Hello, Willow. Hello, Nick. Hello, Anns. It's a duck. Pags is on the firm. And then he starts sort of going, she says, what are you doing over there, Arthur? Or something like that. And he goes, oh, nothing. That bad, right? You're like, what? And so when me and Gail, a girl I was with for 11 years, yeah, we started doing it. And the joke was to do it as blatant's the wrong word, obviously. So it would be like, do you want a cup of tea? Zzz. And we took that out into the real world because we were crackheads. Just laugh that off. We were crackheads who owed about £100,000 and had to run away from our house when they turned up with shotguns. The week after we got busted, they turned up with guns as well, but they were Heckler and Kochs, not shotties. I don't know what I prefer to be shot with, actually. Probably the Heckler and Koch if it was just one, because that's, what is that, 35 mil or something? Pretending to know about guns is so queer. I mean queer. I don't mean homosensual. I mean, leave it out, YouTube. I mean, as in sort of bizarre, peculiar. I'm not saying it's bizarre or peculiar to be homosensual. Oh, man, I'm digging myself a anus here. Right. And then, just when you think it can't get any worse, he's like, you need to look at her. Zzz. She's really growing. Zzz. And then the camera pans round, looks in the sort of cot, and it's a baby. Because they didn't have any money to dress her up in a bee costume, they just done the old Kate Bush sort of Trails LSD video, 4-stage zoom in, and it sort of goes, la, da, 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 da. The baby doesn't dance. That's the outro credits. Very famous. La, da, 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 da. And me and my brother were going, like it was the most amazing thing. So don't go back to it and keep it as the most amazing thing. But yes, there was a time when we were doing that on this manner. We were giving it a bit of the old zzz. There you go. It was when you were that age, like The House That Bled to Death, one of the Hammer horror series. Some bloke killed his missus, put her head in the fridge. What did he do with the rest of her? Who knows? Sold the house. Young couple move in. They find a finger somewhere. Oh, it's all right. It's only a finger. I'm making most of this up to get from A to Z. I'm making up B, C, D, F, X, Y. And then they're having a party, and all the kids are sitting around the table with their little hats and like, hey, oh, have some more sweets and sugar, and hey. And then the one in the chat, if you remember The House That Bled to Death, the pipes start rattling, clang, 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 clang. And they're like, oh, what could it be? And you know what it is because you've sat through 45 minutes of not horror. You know, just a man who killed his wife doesn't cut it, I'm afraid, in 1984. And then, you know, you've already seen The Exorcist. So, you know, a finger. And the pipes are rattling. Hello, Craigs. And hello, Pizzle. Good to see you. And then it's like, gigging, gigging. You can hear that the plumbing's having trouble. And then all these, you know, and it's the symbolism of the kids sitting around the party. You know, if that pipe just busted and no one was in the house, it would be like, ugh. But innocent young children, you know, the opposite of death and decay and gore and murder. So they brought those two things crushing together. And the pipe opens and it just sprays all these kids with blood. It's meant to be, obviously, the blood of the geezer who lived there before his dead wife. I mean, obviously, it doesn't work in any way scientifically. Maybe like a 30-kilo scab might have fallen out of the loft. But there's a very interesting bit, and I'm not sure if they done it intentionally. I can't imagine they had the money to shoot that final scene more than once. But there's a bit, if I remember rightly, and I don't, I'm just making this up so that it's a better story. At the end, some of the kids are still laughing and having a party because they don't know it's blood and it's death. And the transition between yay to absolute horror where they're all crying. And, you know, it's amazing when people get covered in blood and, you know, their eyes are always clear because that's the way his eyes work. You know, their eyes don't go red, like Carrie, Sissy Spacek. Is it Space Tech or is that where you buy USB leads and things? Sissy Spacek, I think it might be, in Carrie when they pour all that pig's blood on her at the end of term prom or whatever it is, and she decides to just let her evil magic rip, and her eyes are just an incredible image. Well, it's like that, but like 20 kids. Good Lord, that's 18 minutes. Spacek, amazing. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Look, someone just said that. Mousecat reckons Hollywood feature film, ITV, 20 quid an episode budget. You reckon they done it better? I'm not so sure, actually, because of the context. When you watch a movie, you expect things to have big things. I certainly didn't expect... Look, Jess has seen it. The house has got the painters in is great work. Right. Let me tell you a little bit that's going to move us into the theme of this stream. I'm only going to do about an hour, maybe an hour and a half if I get any donations. And that is actually connected to this stream. Hear me out, though. So a couple of weeks ago, you know, out there at the moment, because of what biodenomics, I mean, can you believe that that's real? Hang on, before I get into the stream, let's check out a bit of 42. It will play as an intermission between the introduction and the guts. I like to say the guts of the stream. So this is 42. I don't know whether the other fellow who's involved in it, I'm sure he does. It was Al Mack. Who's a professional musician. They got together and done some kind of nationalist rap music song. So this is 42 on vocals, and I'm guessing Al Mack done everything else. 42 can clear it up in the chat. I mean, 42 might have played the baran or something, the fiddle or the mandolin. I don't know what, Irish and all that. Marzipan's on the firm. Kavanagh's in. Lovely to see thee. Emma G. Here we go. I'll have to mute myself. Don't say that. That's awful. I've gone. I'm back. I've gone and I'm back. I'm here and I'm slack. Yep. I've got a bum and a crack. Right. So this is 42 and another scrub. Hello, Sam Decker. Sam Decker said Big Willie. Pizzle has already watched it. He says it's good. It is good. it's a nonsense, isn't it, Pags? I can't believe you do so much damage to your country's financial situation, your economy, and then after the event you decide to call it Bidenomics. Why would you put your name to such a monstrous failure? Well, because his father also did. Here we go. Let me know if you can't hear it, or we're just going to be sitting here doing the nothing. Here we go.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, Sean? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. But from that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing world harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands, among the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare.
Well, there you go, people. There's plenty more, but you have to go over to 42. I'll give you the link. Go over there, give it a listen, give it a thumbs up, give him a comment. All helps. Without all that stuff, there are links in the channel. Jess said to 42, God, this goes in hard. 42 come back with 42 come back with Jess, go hard or go home. Ever since he grabbed the mic, he's just transformed into a force of cultural menace, a musical menace. Right, where are we? Nice one, 42. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. Excuse me. So the other week, it's hard out there. Bidenomics has screwed the American economy like you'd never know. And everyone's suffering. You must have seen the videos. There's one that's going viral today. It's a woman sitting in a car. She's a cleaner. She's got kids, single parent. And she can't afford the petrol to drive to her cleaning jobs. She's got loads of them. And she works all the time. And she might have to move her son out of his bedroom so that she can rent out his bedroom and move her son into her room because she can't afford a week's shopping. She goes to the supermarket but can't afford a one week of shopping. And it's just a real mess. And I'm noticing it as well. And I just thought, the YouTube takes a lot of my time, and it really has to kind of pay for itself, or I can't do so much. So I thought to myself, well, all right, I know the scrubs are broke because I'm broke. Everyone's broke. You know, I've noticed that, you know, I don't stream as much anymore, but I thought, right, what I'm going to have to do is make more normal videos like I used to. I'll still stream, but make more normal videos, try and get some more subscribers, build the channel, and maybe, you know, get active, get proactive. What can I do here? What, you know, because when I'm spending time on YouTube, I'm not spending time working. And if I'm not spending time working, my competitors are. And if in 5 years' time I'm scratching my head going, why haven't I got any money? Which means nothing. No, nothing. You know, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'd do. So I thought I'll make videos. And you might have noticed over 3 days, I made 5 videos. And they were getting good responses. I've done a Dragon's Den video. I think I've done another one. I've done 2 about the Edinburgh Fringe. I've done 1 about movies. And then just before I was about to go to bed on, I think it was Thursday night, bosh, you got a week ban and a strike on your channel for nudity. And I thought, this is typical, isn't it? As soon as you've got the motivation to do something, life throws it back in your face. I thought, you know, this is shocking, because what it was for Lucy Pinder dancing at the end of a video, and I've got hundreds of videos of people dancing at the end of them. So I spoke to YouTube about it. I appealed, and I said, it's a bit of a running joke that I'm rubbish around hot women, and when I've had hot women on and chatted to them, I start stumbling over my words, because my natural response is to flirt like crazy, but because that's inappropriate, my response is to not flirt like crazy, which means I don't know who I am. So it's just like, do you like cornflakes or not? And I said, it's an in joke. I put Joe Guest at the beginning of a video last week. Thankfully, YouTube went with it, and they said, actually, yeah, no problem. They removed the strike and reinstated my channel. But I got more emails than I've ever got for one video, for the video I made about acceptance. It wasn't about acceptance, but it was about comparing yourself to you. Do you remember that one? I can't even remember what it was called. But I got about 15 emails from people saying, and I've never had that many off the back of one video. I get a lot of emails from subscribers and that, but 15, 16 in one day off one video, and they were like, I really needed to hear that today. And a lot like that. And there was one bloke who said, I've been putting something off for months out of fear. And he said, halfway through watching your video, I just went and got that ball rolling. And he said, and a massive relief, a weight has lifted off me. I'm not casting myself as Jesus here, but it's an incredible thing, acceptance. I always say that the 2 things I learned at one rehab when I was 35 changed my life for the better, and it's gratitude, and I'll do a video about that next week, and acceptance, which I'm going to do. Which I'm doing right now. I'm gonna. Oh, good Lord! I got a donation. That's amazing. For more nudity. Thank you, Willow. You know what though? I can now, because I'll say to YouTube, look, again, it's the running joke. Willow give me a super chat and requested a bit of nudity, so nudity shall prevail. Not mine, of course. Well, you get that anyway. That's free. IOU, not IOU, but yeah, anyway. Cheers, Willow. That's a Prasha Kanatu. Hello, Eurostar 2. That's very nice to see you, a new person in here, unless you've changed your name. Hello, Matt. How are you, son? Mike enjoyed it as well. Hubris Now says, you idiot, you're robber. Okay, that's great. Crags, did I say hello to you, Crags? Right, so Marcus Aurelius, when they, you know the what's it called where the gladiators used to do their bit? Bang, bang. What was it called? I can't remember what they called it. Someone tell me in the chat. Hello, John. How are you? Hello, Special K. Otto wants to know if anyone's going to Notting Hill this year. Amazing. Amazing. The Colosseum. I should have known that Latus. I should have just asked Latus. Cheers, Latus. You know, in the Colosseum, it's often portrayed in movies and I was going to say films, movies and films, as a place where the gladiators done their bit. And in the movie Gladiator, they actually showed you the tigers. You know, and that happened. They used to release animals and watch them, you know, tear humans to pieces. But it was a lot worse than that. It was a lot worse than that. You know, this was the highlight of the of Roman entertainment, and some of that involved getting animals to rape pregnant women. Yeah, it was quite. We could call it Caligularian. Yeah, it was quite. You know, a brutal spectacle was the Colosseum. You know. You know, when you're trying to control the populace, you need to keep them coming back there. Here we go. There's more for you. We do this for you, and just like the internet with porn and Hollywood with films, ramp it up. And you know, once you've had tigers tearing apart slaves, essentially, you know, where'd you go from there? It's a brutal place. Marcus Aurelius was known for not really going to the Colosseum. It wasn't his cup of tea. Marcus Aurelius was a thinker. He was actually a thinking one of the thinkers of a series of people not really known for thinking, in fact. But that's not really fair. You know, they did dominate their part, a fair part of the globe. But listen, really simple on the point quote from Marcus Aurelius. When life hurts, care less about it. When life hurts, care less about it. And I'm going to read you, and I know I've read this to you before, but this will be before I launch into my guts of the video. The Serenity prayer, which I found in NA. I come across it in NA, but it wasn't written for NA. Now, regardless of what you think of God, you know, it doesn't matter. You can ignore that part of it. But the message in the Serenity prayer and the three key words. So it starts off with God grant me. All right. So for that bit, just spin that as you will. You know, you could just you could replace that with, please let me have, that'll do. Please let me have the serenity to accept the things I can't change. And that's key. We are powerless over a lot of things in this world. We're powerless over them. And to have serenity, let me be calm. Let me not send myself bonkers. Let me not get angry and just go berserk and become less efficient, less productive, certainly less happy, and frequently ill. Let me be a bit more calm. You know, let me be calm, serene about the things I can't change. Because there's nothing to gain by going crazy about them. Nothing. So grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things I can. So we're not totally powerless. You know, like the other week when I was sitting there looking at the numbers thinking, well, hang on a minute, Thank you. I've seen a couple of super chats come in. I will deal with them, but I don't want to break this up. And that's really kind of you. I know what it's like out there at the moment. When I was looking at the numbers the other week and thinking, shit, this is getting close to the bone. And when I started thinking about, okay, so what am I going to do? What can I do? And I've done a load of other things with work. I've set up a few different projects. There's some marketing things we've done. We've invested further in marketing. It's quite difficult when your revenue isn't what it should be, and because of biodynamics, to actually spend more money. But I've proved in the past that is often what you need to do. I know plenty of businesses who, when the revenue starts going down, which is cash flow, revenue's cash flow. You don't have to think about profits at this stage. As long as there's money coming in that you can buy stock with, pay your staff with, as long as it's more than your burn rate, you're sweet at the moment. Well, you're not, but you can keep going. And when they start struggling with cash flow, they cut their ad spend, they cut their marketing spend. It's a terrible move. So you ain't selling enough. So the first thing you're gonna do is tell less people about your business. No. So I had to make that decision, spend more money here and here, and engage in some actual marketing projects, which I've been working till 7 o'clock in the morning, starting at about 1 o'clock the following day, and getting them done. Just, I got out my book. I still work on a pad with a pen. And I thought, right, this needs doing. Set it out, all the goals I've got to achieve and by when, and then this one, and then this one. Right, I can't get it all done today. So let's not worry about it. Let's not worry about this not working. Let's use that motivation to make it happen, to make it work, to basically have the courage to change the things I can. What can I do? I can't change the American financial situation. I can't change the 40-year record inflation. I can't change an open southern border. I can't change gas prices. I can't do anything about that. But I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. And the third part of that serenity prayer, so I'll read it all. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's the corker. What can I do and what can't I do? And I had to think about that. I can't do that. I haven't got the investment for that. Can't do that because I haven't got the staff or the skills, but I can do this, I can do this, and I can do this. And then with my YouTube channel, I thought, right, what can I do? I can do this, I can do this, and I can do this. Right, let's do this. You know what? Once, I can't even remember what the issue was, but I was about 10 years old and I was terrified about something. I don't know what it was. I mean, I was very, very scared as a child. When I went to bed, and this started when I was about, sorry, I've got cheese and bread. When 42 song was playing, I was eating that cheese sauna. Hang on, the nodules. When I went to bed, and this is one of my earliest memories, so this might go back down to like 3 or 4 years old. When I used to shut my eyes as a kid, I'd get like horror faces. Like, imagine the screen is my point of view. These faces would sort of go, and then the mouth would open so wide that another head would come out of that, a different head with other ghastly kind of, there was no sound, just pictures. And that would continue until I fell asleep. And that went on for about 5 years. Quite awful. And strangely, that isn't what this story is about, but strangely, I accepted it after a while. I mean, there was a time when I was scared to go to bed. And I'd always say to my mother, "Oh, can I watch the Sweeney?" You know, when you're 6, can't really be going to bed at 11 o'clock when you're 6. But I just didn't want to go upstairs on my own. So my mum would say, "Yeah, you can go on then." And I'd lay down in front of the fire. And as soon as I laid down, and then my mum would carry me upstairs, put me in bed, and I wouldn't have to go to sleep and deal with all these faces. But that was only Sunday night because, you know, midweek, can I stay up and watch you? What is it? Well, This Is Your Life or something. But I sort of accepted it after a while because it was going to happen every night. There was nothing I could do about it. And it hadn't seemed to be harming me. So, okay, you're getting some scary faces coming at you when you go to sleep. Okay. Well, it's been going on for a couple of months now. How are you feeling? Yeah, I'm all right. But something else happened, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but I can remember being really scared and worrying. And I found a Bible. Now, I'm not a religious person. I am a spiritual person, and it's a particular definition of spirituality that I'm not going to bore you with now. But I found this Bible, and I don't know if it was a Bible. It was a Bible, but I can't remember how I found something about worrying. I think I just read a bit of it because I thought, you know, when you're that age and you read hymns at school, and, you know, back in the good old days when England was a Christian country and I considered myself a Christian, my school was C of E, Church of England, and I used to have to write C of E on documents and things. You know, we believed in Jesus. We believed in the baby Jesus. And so I thought, well, the Bible might be able to help me in my time of need, in my hour of strife. And call it intervention. Call it the hand of God upon my young brow. But miraculously, and it is a bit weird, I read a page that said something, and Jesus said, no. Now, if any of you are really familiar with the Bible, you might be able to tell me this, because I've never looked. No, I have looked for it since, but I've never found it. Jesus said something like, the essence of it was, what's the point of worrying? When has worrying ever added an hour onto someone's life? Something like that. If anyone knows where that is in the Bible, I'd love to know. I mean, I couldn't tell you what version it was or anything. And I remember thinking, oh, that's a fair point. I get that. Why worry about something? Because it doesn't actually function. You know, worry doesn't really do anything. It actually makes you worry. That's what worry does. And what acceptance comes down to, essentially, is letting yourself, and you are going to think this is going to go a bit hippie, but this shit saved my life. I mean that. I cannot be more sincere. This shit saved my life. Not just this bit, but acceptance. Acceptance is feeling your emotions. You know, you don't spend the majority of your life on some of the strongest sedatives on the planet because you like emotions. You know, I was running from them. But the problem with not letting yourself feel your emotions, you've either got to drug them away, you've got to behavior them away, like risk-taking behavior, you know, something like something intense, stupid things, dangerous things, anything to distract you from how you actually feel. And the idea of acceptance is to say, actually, I can't control how I feel. Most of you in the chat are familiar with my song, New Shoes. There's a line in that song where it goes something like, I need you, I love you, and I'll feel the same again tonight. And I wrote that because I was a junkie and I knew how I'd feel tonight because I took heroin to make me control my feelings. Now, the problem with doing that is you don't only control the negative feelings, you also control the positive ones. You don't feel much at all, really. You know, you sacrifice the joy if you want to get rid of the pain. And the opposite of acceptance is denial, really. You know, you feel something. Maybe your missus leaves you. Maybe you feel like you're a failure. Maybe you are a failure. Maybe you didn't achieve something. Maybe you got fired from a job. Maybe you didn't get the promotion and old Sticky Dicky got it. And you feel something. You feel less than, or you feel bad. You know, you don't like it. But if you deny those feelings, rather than accept them, rather than getting home and going, you know what? I feel like a failure. I feel like I haven't put enough effort in. I feel like people don't like me. You know, whatever they are, whatever those feelings are, accept them. You have to accept them because you can't control your feelings. And if you try to control your feelings, the first instance of controlling your feelings is denial. No, I haven't got them. And what we then do is suppress them or repress them. We just push them away, whether it's through drugs or, like I said, behavior, or just basically refusing to admit it. You know, like when your mates go, you all right, John? And you're like, yeah. No, you don't see myself. You go, no, I'm fucking great. Oh, okay. Anything going on I can help you with? Like someone trying to be a mate. You're like, no, everything's fine. No, everything's great. Let's have a few beers and have a laugh. Yeah. Whereas actually, when you're in denial, when you repress emotions that you don't want to face head on, that you don't want to accept, they find their way out. They will come and find you because there's no place for them. You know, emotions come and go all the time. But the key bit there is they come and go. But they only go if you accept them. If you don't accept them, they rot. They go moldy. They become septic. And they grow. And they might make their way out in illness. You know, I've got a friend who's a hypochondriac and he's always sick. Now, he grew up and watched his mother die, you know, so no surprise at all. But I see him always expressing feelings he doesn't want to deal with, almost certainly from childhood, coming out in illness. Oh, I've got a bad belly. Oh, this, that. Oh, I've got this. It's always fucking ill. And what will happen if you don't accept them feelings, they will find their ways out on the most superficial, pathetic, embarrassing, mundane, day-to-day exchanges we have in a social world. And because negative emotions are huge, you know, these things tap into things that, you know, created our personalities when we were like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. These were the foundations upon which we built our personality. And when something's attacking those, when something's, digging out those, that's massive. And so when you're in the supermarket queue, and you haven't been accepting how you feel, you haven't been accepting you're powerless to control world events, you're powerless to control the bloke over the road who plays his fucking music all night long. When you've denied those feelings and pushed them down, tucked them away, and they've grown and they've festered, and they'll come out at the most stupid times and make you look like an idiot. Because when you're in that supermarket queue and there's some old dear in front of you, and she's like, excuse me, to the woman behind the jump, excuse me, I don't know whether I should buy the red one or the blue one. And the bird behind the jump goes, well, to be honest with you, they're pretty much the same. I think they just smell different. And she's like, well, mate, yeah, but I don't, is it okay if I open them and smell them? Because if I don't like the smell, I'm not going to use it, and then I'll have to come back, and and you're behind them. Now, if you're healthy, if you're dealing with your position in the world, if you're dealing with your existence and accepting your place in the world, which is also known as who you are, that's quite a sweet moment. It's an old dear who's been on the planet for 80 years. She's seen more change than you can remember. And she's just saying to a woman from Africa, she doesn't even know where she come from, I don't know whether I want the blue one or the red one. It's quite sweet. And if you are accepting of who you are, you might even help her. You might even say, I'll tell you what, love. Here, look, let's open them. And when the woman behind the jump goes, you're not allowed to open, I'll go, well, we will do, and we'll see what your boss says. And then you open them, and then you smear a bit on the back of your hand and go, here. And she goes, oh, yes, that's the one I like. You go, there you go, then take that one. And she go, I better take this one back. No, they'll do that. I'll just put it down there. There you go, she wants a blue one. Lovely. But if you're in denial and you've been repressing your negative emotions, they'll be always there, bubbling under the surface of your every act, of your every behavior, of your every engagement, of who you are. They will be just under the surface of who you are, aka you. And in a situation like that, you might go, oh, for fuck's sake. Like I did in exactly the situation I've just told you. When I was in a supermarket on the chore and my coat had 2 bottles of scotch in one inside pocket and a shoulder of lamb in the other, and I was trying to buy some Wrigley's with the 22 pence I'd managed to scrounge up that took 2 hours outside, I wasn't happy. I wasn't accepting of my life. I was trying to repress the feelings I had about myself through heroin, and I needed some, and I was angry, and it was always just bubbling under the surface. And when that lovely old woman was just wanting to know what to buy, I went, oh, for fuck's sake, buy them both, give one away. And then, of course, now it's open, the door's open. And when that door's open, it ain't just the last week I haven't been accepting. You're looking at 15, 20 years. And when someone in the queue next to us goes, hey, when some 6'5" bloke, and don't forget, I'm a street junkie. I weigh about, what did I go down to? About 75 kilo. I was 6'2". Well, I still am. I was a streak of piss. And when some monster in the aisle next to me, he went, don't cunt off the old dear like that. And I was thinking, yeah, that's a bit strong language in front of her. And I just went, what the fuck are you going to do? Now, look at all my behaviour. Have I started speeding it up? Is it going to move faster? Or am I about to get clouted? Is this old dear now shivering, shaking, because some bloke's just shouted in her ear? Twice, because after I'd done it the first time and everyone looked, I wanted them to think, I didn't want to go which I should have done. I should have accepted that I'd been an idiot and said, actually, that was really bad. Sorry, love. Are you all right? I'm sorry about that. I've had a fucking hard life. But I shouldn't put that on you. I'm really sorry. Do you want me to carry your bags to your car and nick them on the way? Do you want me to, that's what I should have done. But no, because I'm standing my ground. Because I'm not making good decisions because they're based on emotions that have become fetid and rancid and awful and ugly and detrimental to me as a person and my engagement with other people. I thought, no, fuck you. I'm standing my ground. Now there is a time and a place in life to stand your ground, but you need to have that wisdom to know when it is. And just shouting at some old woman, now I'm bringing the dairy on me. I don't want the dairy on me. I'm nicking 2 bottles of booze and a shoulder of lamb. My coat is triangle shaped. And my 2 little 1-inch wide legs sticking out the bottom, my fucking junky standard Reebok classics. Now the manager's come over, someone else is there. Someone goes, I know your mother. And I went, yeah, I fucked your daughter. It's just all going mad because it's all coming out. The portal is open. And it's just septic and it's just vulgar and vile and destructive. And I had to run. I had to run out of there because I suddenly thought I'm going to either get nicked or I'm going to get it and then nicked. And I just went, fuck it. You can keep your fucking chewing gum, threw that at someone and then just squeezed past the old lady, like pushing her up against the nasty. And then just sort of huddled out and thought, fucking hell, get out of here. And then when I got on the train, and it was 11 a.m. Junkie Express that comes from Chatham all the way up to Abbey Wood. You get on there, it's all just junkies. Someone's like, you all right, Danger? And I'm like, no, I'm not. There was some fucking old deer in the fucking suit. Oh, it's still going. This is an hour later. Oh, no, what is it with fucking people? Some fucking old woman, I don't know whether to buy the blue one or the fucking red one. I've been standing there 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Ooh. It's still going. And I'm still not feeling good. And of course, he's in a similar boat to me. So he's like, I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. They should have one lane for people who know what they want and what they're doing and one lane for all the other cunts. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Fuck's sake, man. What did fuck it. And I'm not calm. I'm not happy. I'm not content. There's no peace of mind. Another absolute nugget about acceptance. When we can't change our situation, when we're powerless to do what we want with the environment we find ourselves in, and that can be on a global scale, it can be on a town or city scale, it can be in a relationship. When we're unable or powerless to change our situation, we're provided with the opportunity to change ourselves. And that doesn't mean adapt to something you agree with, that you disagree with. It doesn't mean, okay, I can't change it, so I'm just going to go along with it. No. It means in the first instance, accept that you haven't got the power to do anything about it. So now I know that, what am I going to do so that I'm not going to let it eat me up? So that I'm not going to let it have me insomnia all night, every night? So that I'm not going to let it make me drive all my friends and family away because I'm just talking shit and angry all the time, or depressed all the time, or just bitter all the time, or resenting things all the time. When we can't change our environment, we have got a challenge, we've got an opportunity to change ourselves. And we should seize these things, because these are the things that make life worth living. You know, I said it in that video the other day. The only people you should compare yourself to is yourself. We live in a culture where we're shown the most beautiful, the strongest, the richest, the most successful, the most intelligent, a myriad of metrics with which we can compare ourselves. And because we're comparing ourselves with the whole world, we're coming up short on all of them. You're never going to be the most intelligent, the funniest, the strongest, the richest, the most successful, the best this, the best that, the best skateboarder, the best writer, the best BMXer, the best Formula One driver, because there's always someone who's going to come around and be better than you. And even if there's not, you're going to get old and they're going to be better than you. And they're going to learn from you. They're going to stand on your giant shoulders. So it's inevitable that at some point you're going to be comparing yourself with people who you don't stand a chance with. So you compare yourself with one person, and that's yourself. Compare yourself with you yesterday. Have I done? Am I better? Have I achieved more? Now, don't get me wrong. You might not want to achieve anything. You might work too much. You might do too much. So your achievement might be to rest. When I've got to have a hit of my vape because I love it. When Leonard Cohen was a junkie. It's got not a lot to do with this story, actually, but, you know, a lot of people around him were dying, and it was a dark time. If you know his song Chelsea Hotel about Joan Baez and Famous Blue Raincoat, that period of his writing, you know, they're painful songs. And I love them. I absolutely adore them. Cohen is proto-spiritualized. What is this indulgence? But Leonard Cohen, he tried everything. I think he even tried Scientology. He did try Scientology because there's a line in one of the songs where he says, "Did you ever go clear?" And that's what they do in Scientology. They go clear. But I'm not basing it just on a line in a song. I know it's not a diary, but I'm sure he tried. He tried loads of things. And then after It's a Duck. I absolutely adore the man. The songs are beautiful. It's lovely to see so many donations come through. It's almost kind of proving my point. You know, I just thought, you know, the new way I'm dealing with my channel and trying to make more videos, and people are being very kind. I will not miss those, and I won't miss any entropies if there's any in there. There's not. If anyone has made an entropy donation, let me know, because it has been playing up a little bit and it's just logged me out. Start streaming. Oh, for fuck's sake. Excuse me. Excuse my French. I've got to just... it was playing up before, actually, the old entre. Go live. It should say you're already streaming. Nope. Mr. MF, there you go. I've got that, Mr. MF. I'm glad I refreshed that, or I missed that. So I will do those in a minute. But Leonard Cohen, on his journey, you know, he was suicidal. He was right on the edge. And part of his journey was to go and be a Buddhist. You know, it's quite a thing in the 60s. I mean, I ain't far off. I can see myself. I had a mate, he used to watch his channel. We've kind of lost contact, really, but he married a Thai bird and she died. And he went to a monastery for 6 months and lived as a monk for 6 months. And when he told me, I was radically impressed, because that ain't easy. That ain't an easy life. You know, take away all those distractions. When you take away all those distractions, That is acceptance central, because you've got nothing to distract yourself. It's just you and now, which is all there is anyway. But we get busy, we get clever, we get a little bit tricky with time, and we start thinking about the past. And that was terrible when that happened to me. Oh, that happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me. Those bastards, I'll never forgive them. We forgive people for us, not them. We forgive the people who've done us harm so that we can let go of it. Because if we don't let go of it, we haven't accepted it. And you can't change it. I chased down one of my abusers, put an house brick through his face. Didn't work, didn't feel any better. It was the wrong bloke, which might explain it, but nonetheless. Or if we're thinking in the future, this is going to happen, I might get cancer, I might die. Well, you are going to die. You are going to die. That is going to happen of something. Rarely do we die of nothing. No one dies of nothing. Things stop working. That is going to happen. You're absolutely powerless to do anything about that. Let it go. Let it go. Because worrying about it is going to take up all your energy between now and it happening. It just doesn't make sense. So Cohen goes to a monastery, as a Buddhist monastery, and he rocks up there and he says, can I be a monk? Can I live here as a monk for like 8 or 9 months or something? And the top monk, we'll call him Bob, Bob Monk's house. He rocked up at Bob Monk's house. Excuse me, I actually burped. And he said, can I be a monk? And they said, yeah. And so he had to fill in a bit of an inventory. You know, they wanted to know a little bit about himself. They knew who he was because he was one of the biggest sort of musical stars of the era. And so he's come in with his rags on, you know, head shaved. And he went, right, what do I do? Do I clean up? Do I cook rice? And Bob Monk, the chief monk, said to him, see over there, just over the outside of the garden. And old Cohen's looked over. He went, yeah. He went, there's a tennis court. Can you see that tennis court? You can see people playing down there. He went, yeah. He said, well, that's nothing to do with the monastery, but they let us use it. He went, I want you to go and play tennis for a couple of weeks. And Leonard Cohen was kind of like, well, hang on a minute. I've been studying Buddhism, and I've been studying the middle path, and I've been studying this and that, and there's nothing in there about tennis. And the main monk said to him, you've been working and doing nothing else for 20 years. When was the last time you had a bit of fun? You just had a bit of fun. And it's really sad. You know, I read this in a thing Cohen wrote. And he said, I thought, you know, with all that success, all that money, all that celebrity money, success, parties, I've achieved it. I'm a, you know, best-selling musician. All the things you think that would tick all your boxes. He realised he hadn't had any fun for like 2 decades. Now, let's say the average age of someone is 70 years. We can take away your first 10 years because it's all a little bit, you're like a ball bearing in a pinball machine. And you can take away the last 10 because you're like a turd in a pinball machine. So you've got 50 in between. 20 of those, he hadn't had any fun. Hadn't just taken it easy. Hadn't lived in the present. And that monk didn't want him cleaning up the statues of Vishnu or whatever. And before you tell me Vishnu is Hindu and not Buddhist, I'll have you know that in places like Cambodia and Thailand, they have combined Hinduism and Buddhism. Yeah, that caught me out when I went to a Buddhist temple, and there's old Vishnu and Shiva. And I'm, what? No, he went down there. And the weird thing is, he said he found it a real struggle. He went, you know, he was quite prepared to do all that work that you hear about. He was quite prepared to wash all the monks' robes, you know, get your work. Oh, I can get up at 4 o'clock. I'll be the best monk here. 4 o'clock in the morning, washing all the monks' robes, hanging them all up, ironing them all, no problem. Then mopping all the halls, cleaning all the altars and all that, no problem. I'll be the best. It's not difficult for him to do all that. Because that's all he's ever done, because it distracts him from two things: the now and him. Easy for him to do that. But he said he had a nightmare. When the monk said to him, you can go and play tennis, he said, oh, I've had it off here. This is going to be a dream. Apart from the skinhead, I'm just going to wake up, couple of bowls of rice, get down there, get my backhand sorted, might meet some nice birds. Didn't turn out like that. Because first thing is, he gets down there and it's like, you're Leonard Cohen. And suddenly he's someone. And the other people playing all like, that's Leonard Cohen. That these days, that's like Justin Bieber turning up to a little tennis court at the edge of a Buddhist sanctuary in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't want that. He wanted to get away from that. He can't deal with it. And he's like, yeah, can I? Glass. And just to play a bit of tennis and just. The thing about accepting feelings we don't like. If you don't accept them, and again, it doesn't mean you agree with them. It doesn't mean you're happy about them. If you think about what they done to you, if you think about what they're doing to you and what they are and them, it doesn't matter. It could be different from you. It could be the government. It could be the globalists. It could be your old headmaster. It could be your mother or your father. Doesn't matter who. But if you refuse, look, here's the thing. People, right, let me tell you another little story. I got a mate and he said to me, he come around my house and he come in and he looked proper flustered, right, when I was living in Soho. Really flustered. I went, well, what, you all right? He went, no, I'm fucking not, man. He went, can't I just sit down for 10 minutes? You sit down as long as you want, come around my house for the day. And he was all like, I went, what happened? He went, I got an email from, I can't remember her name, some ex-girlfriend. He went from some ex-girlfriend, and she decided to outline all the things she thought about me, all the behaviours I got up to in our relationship. And at the end of it, she said, never write to me again. And this email is a burner email. It won't accept me, So basically, she's told him what an arsehole he was. And he's got no right to reply. And I was like, right, so what's the problem? Was she wrong? And he sort of looked at me and I could see that the denial acceptance sanction was like, or dialectic, should I say, was causing him problems. I said, was she wrong? Because if she's wrong, I can't see why you're so flustered. And he went, well, no, she did say some pretty harsh things. I said, yeah, but I didn't ask that. I'd only imagine it would hurt you if they were true. And he said, well, I was an arsehole to her. I said, well, there you go. So you felt bad because she gave you some home truths. He said, yeah, but that weren't all of it. He said, so I fucking turned the computer off because I knew I was coming to see you. He said, as I was walking down the road, I thought, I'm going to have a panic attack now. He said, I could feel it coming on. He said, so I sat down. I thought, right, just do some breathing. So he said, he said, I was sort of doing this breathing. He said, and I thought, oh, that feels a little bit better. And then he said, and then he said, I thought, I can't get the tube. I know where I can go down in that tube. He said, what I'll do is I'll get a bus and I'll put my headphones in. I'll listen to a podcast. He said, but the fucking podcast, out of the blue, happened to be about a similar situation. You know, someone who'd had to face some own truths about how he was in a relationship. He said, and I was just like, no, you know, so I've had to rip those headphones out. The thing about a negative feeling, a negative emotion, where you feel bad about yourself, about the world, anything, what our culture has kind of tried to get us to do, for obvious reasons, so that we're more efficient at producing and consuming. That's the bottom line. You know, we can decorate it a bit, but no, if people aren't actually dealing with the real conditions of their existence, they'll be more efficient producers and consumers, because they'll need to be, because it's a good distraction. When you have a negative emotion, we live in a society that tries to stop you feeling it. It's you know, oh, if you feel emotional, are you feeling anxious? Oh, I'm not going to get into the whole lie of mental health, but if you're feeling anxious, no, you can take a tablet. What? Why? Feel anxious. You're anxious. You're anxious. Why not feel the anxiety? Because it ain't coming from nowhere. You know, there's not like devils flying around the sky throwing anxiety bombs at people. You're anxious. So while you're in that anxiety, which actually makes you think and are actually very clever and astute, and you'll be surprised how much you can consider your real conditions of existence when you're in those states. Actually maybe think about why you're anxious. Don't try not to feel it. Oh, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can take that, maybe do this, lift some weights, do this, do that. No, maybe be anxious. Be anxious. And then think, why? Because also, here's the other thing, bad emotions, negative emotions, painful emotions, they don't stay. If you actually feel them, if you actually let them happen, they go. Sometimes in a few minutes. In a few minutes. We've got a whole industry out there trying to tell us not to feel anything. Brave New World, it's Soma. Nah, just stay nothing. Just be a nothing. Feel nothing. And actually, you know, if it's only when you know, he's a hypochondriac. He's always looking for pharmacological, medical, what's the word? Treatments for what are largely psychological ailments. You know, this is him. He's anxious. And if you don't feel that anxiety, and then a little bit down the line, you're a bit depressed, so you do something to get rid of that, and then a bit further down the line, because all the way through your life, you are going to be feeling emotions, both positive and negative. And if you don't let yourself feel them, they're all building up. Like I said earlier, they're all smouldering under the surface. In the end, they'll smother you and possibly kill you. And I mean that through many different ways. They can kill you through your too much drinking to keep away from them, too much risky behavior. You might contract some sexually transmitted diseases, which means your wife leaves you, which means your kids leave you, which means you can't get to work on time because you're too depressed. And so then you're out of money, then you can't pay your mortgage, then you're on the street, then you're on the skag, then you smoke a rock, and then you're dead. I mean, it's a little bit ludicrous, but that does happen. Whereas feel those feelings in the first place and you stand a hell of a lot better chance. Acceptance is not giving up. It's not taking life slapping you round the face. It's learning, and this goes back to the last line of that Serenity prayer. It's learning, excuse me, it's learning how to focus on what you can change and then doing it. Yeah. Let's have a look at these super chats. Very kind of you people. I'm just going to refresh entropy again. Optimistically. Mr. MF says, hey, Danger. I find the Serenity prayer is very practical in dealing with regular life. So many irritating things I can't realistically change, like the Uniparty destroying the US. Yeah, I absolutely get that. It doesn't mean don't be politically engaged. It doesn't mean, it's not, you're not accepting it. Oh dear, the truth come out. You're not agreeing with it, and you're not saying it doesn't matter, but you're understanding the level of change you can, you can affect on such a thing. Nice one, Mr. MF. I appreciate that. Thank you for that, Lady Godiva. Some super chats here. Willow Wookie dropped a Lady Godiva for more nudity. Thank you, Willow. Andy Mac, $4.99. Silence. Just a slick one. 22 hours has dropped a bullseye in. Mate, that's life-saving. They're all life-saving, but that's obviously particularly life-saving. Thank you, 22 hour. Amazing. Thank you very much. 22 nomics. I like it. I'm all up for 22 nomics. Very, very kind. Mrs. Me in it sent me a story about I'll tell you what. Let's have a little look at it. I mean, you only get this from Mrs. Me in it. Lovely, lovely lady. Her and her other half. And I always go on about it. But they're... 42 earlier when I said I'll play his song, and he went, oh, don't, I'll get shy, or I'll be blushing. I've just opened my inbox. He sent me the link. Oh, don't play it. Here's the link. Rusky, old fat reckons he's found it. Rusky's found it. Here we go. This is from Matthew 6:25, verse 34. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. Do they not sow or reap or store away in barns? And yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? This is the one, fat you miracle. Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And that's what I read when I was a kid. That's amazing, Rusky. Bless you. Bless you, son. Right, where is it? Where's old... I nearly doxed you then, Mrs. Me in it. Mrs. Me in it says, I love this. Plato, the allegory of the cave. The cave is a symbolic representation of how human beings live in the world. It is an absolute classic, the cave, of course. Nice one, Mrs. Me in it. Thanks for the Ayrton Senna. And this is what Mrs. Me in it sent me. The chicken that lived without a head. Mike the Headless Chicken, 1945 to 1947, was a male Wyandotte chicken that lived for 18 months after his head had been cut off. After the loss of his head, Mike achieved national fame until his death in March 1947 in Fruita, Colorado. An annual Mike the Headless Chicken Day is held. And we've got a photo of Mike the Headless Chicken, and I'm about to show you it. Look at that. If Mike the Headless Chicken can live for 18 months without a head, just think what you can do. There he is. Mike the Headless Chicken. It's a little bit like Mick, my mate, the master farter. Put the art back into farting with his double jointed arse. One in the chat if that audio cassette went round your school like wildfire. Santa Claus, you cunt. Where's my fucking bike? Anyone know who it was? Some Australian geezer, wasn't it? Santa Claus, you cunt. Where's my fucking pram? He put the art back into farting with his double jointed arse. If anyone can tell me who that was, I'll go back to it and ruin it because it won't be as good. Ugg seconds, drops of Phil saliva in. Lefty Will Self, yeah, you'll be surprised, says you're great. Is he not fussed by your false reputation as a nationalist groomer? Will Self has had the press say a lot of ridiculous things about him. He recently wrote an article, which I assisted him on. He said to me, can I name check you? I was like, sweet. He didn't know. I don't think he actually included the stuff I said, but he absolutely ripped. He took the piss out of literally, well, no, but symbolically took the piss out of, I can't remember the geezer's name. Television, sports pundit, round face, northerner. He done a series on telly about drinking too much. It was called Drinkers Like Me. Oh, why can't I remember his name? Yeah, if I put in Drinkers Like Me. Adrian Chiles. So Adrian Chiles has got a... He put a urinal in his own house. Like a urinal that you'd get in a boozer in his own house. And it's in the colours of his favourite football team, which I think is... I don't even think they're in the Premier League anymore. Regardless who the team is, he's got it in its colours. And Will Self really took the piss out of this having a urinal in his house and the fact that he don't stop talking about it. And he was doing the Adrian Chiles, that's it, Adrian Chiles. He was once doing the commentary for the Olympics bicycles, you know, the velodrome, right? His pundit partner was the female world champion of the cycling in the velodrome. And Adrian Chiles, live on television, said, you know, I often feel a bit bad when I see them crash their bikes, because when I was a young man, I fell off my bike, and well, there's no other way of putting it, but I cut my ball sack open. And this woman's like, okay, they're preparing for the next race. Was like, and you know, I've never really got over it. And when I watch, it's like, stop talking about your ball sack. Now, why would Will Self calling Adrian Chiles out be anything? Because Adrian Chiles is married to Kath Viner. Who's Kath Viner? The editor of The Guardian. Now, when you're a writer of Will Self stripe, who probably makes more money out of journalism than he does selling books, because his books are very difficult to read and people don't tend to buy a lot of books. No, that's not true actually, but they tend to buy Lutus's children's stories rather than literary fiction. But you can't do that. You cannot do that. And you go on Twitter, type in Adrian Charles Will Self, and you'll see so many people just slagging Will Self off and saying he's just jealous because Adrian Charles is a better writer than him. And you're like, maybe. Do you think so? So in going back to your thing, we don't really, Will Self is on record as saying multiculturalism doesn't work. Is Will Self a lefty? He's not a right-wing person. I think we'll say that. But when we write to each other, we tend to talk about literature. We tend to try and outgun each other with obscure references, and it's just sort of funny. But it's got quite dark recently, but that's private. One day I'll publish those letters. Jumping on the back of Will's success. I was thinking of calling it Will Self and I. He's fine with me, man. Will Self went to Michael Houellebecq, the right-wing enfant terrible of French letters. Oh, that's a condom. He went to his wedding. So, I don't think he's got a problem with people having different political ideas. It's a fair question, though. I thought it when we first started communicating. I thought, oh my God, how am I going to tell him about the teenage Nazi grooming? Mouse cat, meow mucker, hoit to that. Chris, been watching vids recently about visualization of goals that you want to achieve. It's a bit of a hippie ideology, but apparently a lot of millionaires do this stuff. Oh no, I'm all over it, Mouse cat. Yeah, you make a reality out of it. And you don't have to, I don't know how much you know about it, but thank you, Mouse cat. It's hard talking to you and your missus. I always want to call you by your real names. It's not a very rigorous practice, but if you can, it's basically just imagining what you want to happen, and it gives it a kind of reality. Because if you can imagine it, and then you can think, well, how am I going to get this bit done? And how am I going to get this bit done? What you're really doing is planning. You're planning it. You're planning it when you haven't got the resources to make it happen. And then when the resources do appear, you've planned it and planned it and planned it. So, you're gonna be better equipped to deal with the challenges that the actuality of the imagination presents you. Yep, got nothing against that at all. Good call. My man, Mike Edwards, drops $4.99 in. No comment. Thank you, Mike. Today's is on the firm. Nice one, mate. I can't quite see what the emoji is because I'm old and blind, but thank you. Mrs. Me in it drops a £2 in. Here's to Mike the Headless Chicken. Thank you. Matt drops 10 Canadian dollars. Nice one. Brilliant stream, Chris. I think the digital age accelerates the cycle of worry, anxiety, and eventual depression. The brain doesn't get a rest. Thank you, Matt. It's a great point because it's almost verboten. It's almost forbidden to do nothing. This is why I do meditate, because meditating is doing nothing. Don't listen to Russell Brand. Don't get your chakras in line. Bing, bing. No. Just turn the lights off. Concentrate on your breathing. Why do you concentrate on your breathing? To try and stop you thinking about all the other things in your life. Now, it's very hard to do. You sit there and you think, "No, I've got this nailed. I'm concentrating on my breathing." Yeah. It's weird breathing, isn't it? I remember that bloke at that party in 1984 that he had like asthma. Asthma's weird, isn't it? Because it's like your breath. There's a symbolic relationship to the inside and the outside. A bit like eczema. Eczema's like on your skin, isn't it? That's got to be psychosomatic. Psycho, mind, soma, body, inside, outside. And that'll happen like that. And you think, hang on, what happened to me thinking about my breathing? So then you come back to your breathing. But that's all it is. That's all meditation is. Do it on the tube if you want. Do it when you're walking to the corner shop. It's been much over-egged as meditation because people want to make money out of it, essentially, especially hippies. Anyway, it's nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. I am going to get a little bit of tunage sorted. It is going to be household. Now, I'm asking you for a favor. Please like this video, because when you do a live stream, you don't get a lot of comments under it because people have been commenting in the chat. So try and like it if you would. But also the video I got a strike for has been age restricted. So unless you're subscribed you're subscribed, you can't watch it. So it could do with some views. It's the one it's called What's Wrong with Light Entertainment. And if you get to the end, there's some wicked bonus footage if you like Lucy Pinder. I also made 2 videos about the Edinburgh Fringe. I've done another Dragon's Den reaction and another Dragon's Den reaction. Please keep an eye out for the videos because I know that YouTube don't tend to notify people. If you haven't rung the little bell, do that. I know everyone gets really bored of YouTubers saying, can you ring the little bell? Can you press like? Can you subscribe? YouTube used to be a side hustle. Now, to make it work, you've pretty much it's got to pretty much be a full-time job. And fortunately, unfortunately, I've got a full-time job. But I do love my YouTube channel. I love making videos and I love streaming. Here's some thanks. I want to thank, first of all, I want to go back to the chat. It's all right, people. We've got that new shoes coming up. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, remember that, Glass. Remember that. What was I going to say? I asked a question and I reckon someone answered it. Hello, Sean. I didn't know you were in here, mate. Did I say hello to you, Vincent? Hello, Bonjamin. Are you my Bonjamin? That's weird, isn't it? My Bonjamin. Good Lord. Don't forget, I'm also a writer. I have been smashing my novel, so there's no shorts have gone up for about 2, maybe 3 months now. I have got one halfway through, though. It's a cracking little dialogue-heavy story about a family whose nan died, and they had a little chat on WhatsApp about it. It's a true story, because I haven't got an imagination. I just write about things that have happened to me. Right, here we go, people. I want to thank Rags and the boy Cray who look after this place. I want to thank everyone who donated. As I said earlier, if I don't get donations, I can't have a YouTube channel because I can't justify spending the time on it. So I really appreciate the donations because I love having a YouTube channel. And most of all of you lot who keep coming back for these live streams, watching the videos, sharing them, and helping me keep the dream alive. Boom. Here is the hit track from 90s skag rock band, The Household. It was actually just Household. Audio, that one, and I'll go down and I'll find it, and then I'll say, see you later. Much later. Here's Ozmeister. Oh, that's what's sexy about her, though, mate. But you've just ruined it. It's a balancing act of a 5-spot, though.
I'm stupid, I'm lazy, but in the discotheque I still look crazy. Love me, baby, I only tell lies 'cause the truth escapes. Summertime, we can get new shoes. I'll have brown and you can get the blues. I'm not good, I'm fading, but in the right light I still look vaguely human. Happy it won't be long before we cave in. Summertime, we can get new shoes. I'll have brown and you can get the blues. You can get the blues.
So I'll just put a link in the chat. It's the SoundCloud link.
Don't worry about my heroin addiction. It's only slight. I need you, love me, but I feel the same again tonight. Summertime, we can get new shoes. I'll have brown and you can get the blues.
Cheers, Graham.
You can get the blues. You can get the blues.
Rewatch it, Jack. You're not joking. It might help you out. That's all right. You can get that. You really are. All right, right. The things are so late, I'm going to drop it in now. We're going to lose the outro of this one. Here you go. Still not home.
You came in my dream, kissed me, loved me. Tears of a baby roll down your cheek. Your eyes are wide, so look around. You've love to give,
What's another concept, Chad?
so get it out. Get it out anytime.
Looney Rocky, 32 months as a member. Nice one, mate. And Vincent on 20. Fair play.
Love sits beside me. I feel complete. You came in my dream, kissed me, loved me. Your eyes are wide, so look around. you'd love to give.
30 big ones to put up.
So get it out. Get it out. Anytime.
Again, because of the time restraints, I dedicate this next one to my man Israel. Here we go. Gosh.
Good luck to me. Good luck to me. Here's my eyes. Here's my fatigue. It's going light. Submarine. Get me a drink. Get me some green. I wanna enjoy the sun no matter money. It's going light. Submarine. How we getting back? I don't know where we've been. If you got the cat pharaoh, I'll break into the speed. Good luck to luck, and good luck to them. I couldn't give up monkeys, fuck if I never saw them again. They're going light. Submarine. It's going submarine.
It's funny, actually. Someone in the chat there, who was it there? You're a Star Too, said it's very Mick Jagger. Me and Mick Jagger come from the same hometown of sunny Dartford. There was a bloke who used to do a very good impression of Mick Jagger, and he said that estuary English, he said, that you get from people who live on the Thames estuary. He said you have to caricature it a little bit and exaggerate, but when he does his impression of Mick Jagger, which I'm not going to attempt to do, I'm just going to demonstrate the bit where they sort of go, "Oh, I know how you're doing. I'm fine. What's the weather been like over there?" And on that note, see you later. Hoit!